Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Now there is a question from the previous class that I did mention the manifestation of the three gunas happened in a particular cycle. There in the cycle I had mentioned that this tamas manifests between 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. and sattva from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Rajas from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now the question is, sir, what happens between 2 a.m. to 4 a.m.? Which guna? There is no guna at that time. That's all. Because you are supposed to be in the state of deep sleep. Deep sleep means dreamless sleep. The state of nothingness. When you are in that state of nothingness, there is no thought. Meaning, he said guna can exist only if there is a thought. There is a desire. There is a like. There is a dislike. Those thoughts have to exist for guna to exist. In deep sleep, there is no thought. It's nothingness. It's void. Emptiness. Since there is no thought there is no possibility of any guna. Therefore, I said between 2 to 4, there is no guna for you. That doesn't mean you have reached guna atita, please. Okay. Don't go out and say, between 2 to 4, we are in guna atita state and all that. Yeah, correct. But not in the transcendence form. You have fallen below. Like in pitch darkness, you cannot read. Similarly, 12 o'clock, noon, bright sunlight, cloudless sky, you can't take a book outside and read. So in darkness, you can't read. In brilliant light, you cannot read. That doesn't mean darkness is equal to brilliant light, please. You see, there are two different things. Similarly, between that time, you are in deep sleep state. Since you are in the deep sleep state, there is no thought. Since there is no thought, there is no guna. That's all. You see, that's why I just kept it as the 2 to 4. But don't take all these things in a strict fashion, please. You see, it's a general idea for you to get. They have classified. That's about it. But don't take it as exactly at 5:59. Rajas will disappear. 6:1 tamas will take over. It's not like that, please. Right? It's an averaging out. That's about it. If you take our our Hindu calendar, they have Panchanga, they call it. If you see that Panchanga, in that Panchanga they give Sattvic time for the day, Rajasic time for the day, Tamasic time for that particular day. That keeps varying. You see, according to them. So don't take it in the sense of, literally it is fixed, but more or less you can see it's fixed during that time. So it's averaging it out. So that's the idea there. So he has given the direction. He said, if you have to progress, you got to follow these three principles: action, emotion, thinking. Now what he is doing is he is taking up that action part and analyzing that in little detail. More and more details you will see as we go on in the book. You see, now in this chapter, Exigency of Action, chapter 5, Exigency of Action. There, you see, he is giving us the idea of the topics we have in the chapter, Exigency of Action. As action is inevitable, then you have to understand the value of action. Then you have the idea of chronology of action. So first thing he tells is, remember, action is inevitable in life. Action is the insignia of life. Without action, you cannot live. You can't survive. For survival, you have to act. And your actions has to be like that of a river, which is running constantly. It keeps running till it reaches the final abode of ocean. Similarly, every human is expected to perform action. That's the law of nature. If you are not acting, even for a split second, says Krishna in the Gita, if you are inactive even for a second, you can't live, you die. In fact, inaction is called as death here. Even just to maintain your body, you have to act. You know, the muscle which you are not using loses its strength, vitality, and slowly dies. That's what one humorist says. You know, average gap between death and burial is 50 years, he says. You know, you are dead 50 years back, but people bury you after 50 years. Very interesting, statement of his. He says, you are dead. Why? You are not acting. There is no action. And strangely, we believe Vedanta is to be studied after retirement. Ask me, what is the proof? Just switch over from speaker view to gallery view for a second and look around. You will know what I'm talking about. All retired, semi-retired. Why? Because the belief is that. The belief is you're supposed to study Vedanta and all these things after retirement. For what, we don't know. But the best part is Vedanta is talking about how to live an active life, a dynamic life. In fact, that's what Arjuna's argument is in the Gita. Arjuna is the one who says, I want to get away from action. And it is Krishna who says, you got to fight. And still people read Bhagavad Gita after retirement. Very strange. He says, that's not the way it is given, man. Gita is pressing that you have to act. You have to act. You have to act. And Vedanta is such a complicated subject. If it says only act, there is no problem. In that same breath, Vedanta says you got to renounce also. See, that's when, Vedanta becomes a problem for us. If Vedanta were to say, renounce, that's it, easy. Suppose if Vedanta says action, 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 no problem. The problem with Vedanta is that same breath, when it is saying you have to act, along with that, it is insisting on renunciation also. The one hand, it is talking about action, dynamism, productivity, all that, technique of action and all those things. On the other hand, it is glorifying renunciation. People were glorified. Now, any average intelligent person will get confused, because renunciation is what? Giving up. Action is what? Taking up things. You are doing things. You are creating. You are making. Now, in renunciation, what are you doing? You are giving up. Now, are you asking us to do, or you are asking us to give up? Vedanta says do both. If Vedanta were to say do one of it, there's no problem. One group of people renounce, one group of people act. Okay, no problems. You fellows are all acting, you fellows are all renouncing. Problem solved. That is not what Vedanta says. Vedanta speaks to every individual personally. Even if there is a congregation, address of these scriptures is not for the congregation, please. Address of the masters is only for that individual. To every one of you, Vedanta says, you have to act and you have to renounce. It is not saying 70% of you act, 30% of you do renunciation. Easy. Or the other way around. Some percentage you give. 99% act, 1% renounce. Then also it becomes a little easier for us. Or to an individual, if Vedanta were to say, okay, first you act, in future you renounce. Then at least we'll say, okay, then understandable for me. That is also not Vedanta says. To that individual, as you are acting, you have to renounce, he says. That's action. It is not, today I act, in future I renounce. It's not that, please. Today I act, today I renounce. Now that's where we get really bugged with these masters. See, that's where we need to understand the beauty and grandeur of action. Now Vedanta says, your action gets its true potency only when you learn to act in that spirit of renunciation. As the body plunges into action, you have to renounce. Yes. Now, when in Vedanta, when he says, you got to keep working, keep growing, and your motto in life should be to strive, to struggle, not to succeed. A fabulous, statement. Your motto in life is to strive, to struggle, man. Not to succeed. Not to succeed doesn't mean you have to start searching for failure, please. It's not that you work in such a way that you ensure you fail. It's not that. When you are performing that action, let not the fruit, the enjoyment of fruit, the anxiety for enjoyment of the fruit, which is going to be accruing in future, come and disturb your present performance of action. If you can manage to click that off, you're practicing action and renunciation together. You be in that struggle. Your focus is only to be that struggle. The problem is people don't understand the beauty in striving. Action well accomplished. The pleasure of life is doing something in a way it is supposed to be done. Now the problem is this: when you have to perform action, what is the attitude with which you perform your actions? The fruit of action is what is motivating you to perform action. Unless you are given a guarantee, unless you are given a possibility of success, you are never motivated for performance of action. That's why Vedanta says you've got to have the attitude of a farmer, not a businessman. You see, a farmer's attitude is what? He works, he slogs in the field with the full understanding that he is totally helpless with reference to so many factors that is going to influence the result of his action over which he has absolutely no control. He cannot control the rain. He cannot control the weather. He cannot control the soil. He cannot control this. He cannot control that. You cannot control so many things. But still, he slogs. Whereas a businessman starts his business with what? Businessman attitude is what? Unless I am assured of success, who will give you money to do business? That is why even if it is a failure model, you project it as though success, profit is possible. All that you require is a good chartered accountant. That's what they say. Who is a good chartered accountant? A company wanted to employ, it seems. They had a huge study. And the board of directors, very difficult to gather together. They got together and they had, brought down 3 fellows. So there's a final interview, select or reject. The first fellow walked in. They asked him only one question. What is 2 plus 2? 2 plus 2. The first fellow said 4. They said, okay, we'll send you, go. Second fellow came in. What is 2 plus 2? 4. We'll send you the letter, go. Third fellow came in. What is 2 plus 2? Forget about it. How much you want? They said, that is a chartered accountant we want. Either you want it to be projected as asset, we will project it as asset. You want it to be projected as liability, we will project liability. You want to show profit or you want to show loss? First question the fellow asks is what? How much tax you want to pay? Tell me that first. Based on that, I will prepare your things. As a businessman, what is it, sir? First thing is what? I need to be assured. I need to have control on what? On the result, not on my effort. And always effort the effect is not equal to your effort in life. Because between that effort and effect, there is a factor, uncontrollable factor, that X factor, which influences the consequences. You see, that is why we do prayer. Why? Let that uncontrollable factors, which cannot be controlled by me, be favorable towards me. If not favorable, at least let it not function against me. Let me not have a headwind. Let me have tailwind. Let those factors work as a tailwind. That's why before we start any action, we do a prayer. What is a prayer for? Not for, surety for success, please. No. There are so many factors. Just that recognition of that. The moment you recognize those factors, what happens? You take a stand like Christ. Let thy will be done, not my will be done. Now all of us go to God. What, sir? Let my will be done through thy. That's all. This is the attitude with which we go to work. He says, work has to be performed in the spirit of renunciation. And when you work in that spirit of renunciation, world pays you. You get a rich dividend. Wealth, prosperity, success are at the doorstep. Remember, this is a law of life. You can't change, I can't change. Anyone who works in that spirit of renunciation succeeds in life. And remember, work is created by you. Very important point to be remembered in life. Obligations, work is created by your effort. And today, these duties have become such a big burden on our shoulders. Now, duties, obligations. Like a lot of these people, quote Bhagavad Gita, stating, all that you have to do is what? Do your duty. Don't worry about the result. Do your duty. Don't worry about the result. First of all, are you doing your duty? Because the mark of performance of duty is what? Forget about you're worried about result or not. What is duty? To all of us, duty is a burden, is a heavy thing that is hanging on our shoulders. It's too heavy, man. It's tiring. That's why after a period of time we say, I have done enough. Now you start doing it for me. Now you do for me. Now no one wants to keep on doing their duties. Somewhere down the line he says, I am tired of doing my duties, sir. How long you want me to keep on doing duties? That means what? The very fact that you are asking that question is a proof that duty is a burden for you. Initially, you dare not say that because of your prejudice, because of your bias. You're scared. You're scared to talk against it. That's why youngsters are much easy to learn Vedanta. Old people find it difficult to learn Vedanta. Why? Because they dare to question. As you keep aging, you find it difficult to question your things. Everyone believes they are doing their duties. I'm doing my duty. I'm doing my duty. But the question is, what is the hallmark of performance of a duty? Then comes the idea of you are renouncing the fruit. But first requirement is, are you doing your duty? How do you know? What should happen to a person who is performing his duties? Or what is the essential qualification required for a person to perform his duties? Then you can understand renunciation in action. Otherwise, it is not possible. Remember this. For you to perform your duties, you've got to be sacrificial in nature. You should have the willingness to sacrifice, to serve. If you are not having the attitude of sacrifice, nobody can do their duties. It is not possible. If you are not sacrificial. That is why when you are performing your obligations, your duties, you evolve. Isn't it? Otherwise, how can you evolve through performance of duties? Isn't it? Now, we all claim that we have been performing duties for the last 25, 30 years. For the last 30 years, what I've been doing in the office, I'm doing my duties, sir. At home, you're doing your duties, sir. As a citizen, what are you doing? I'm doing my duties, sir. If you have been doing duties, obligations. If in a day you are performing 100 actions, Out of 100 actions, let's say, about 50% of your actions were all duty-based. By now, you should have been evolved. Correct? The world should have been a utopia by now. If everyone were to be doing their duty. But everyone feels they are doing their duty. But we are not seeing the consequence of this. Why is that? Because when you are performing your duties, what should happen to you is your desires, your attachment, your egocentric ideas, your expectations should drop. The performance of duty. Why is that? Because to do the duty, you have to be sacrificial. The one who is not willing to sacrifice, serve, he can never do his duty. The performance of duty is that. And another hallmark of doing duty, if you are doing your obligations, obligatory actions are all effortless. It's an effortless action. Obligations are effortless actions. Obligations are not strainful, effortful actions. Obligations are effortless. You should be doing action in an effortless manner. So much of pain, so much of disturbance, so much you have to push yourself to do things. You're not jumping into doing action. See, why? If at all you have to do action, you have to do actions only this. I say one of, a fellow used to ask me, hey, imagine that if you were to have all the money that you can think of in the world, you have all that. Will you continue to do what you are doing? Still will you go to job? Imagine that you have all the money. Imagine that you have all the knowledge that is required. Still will you study Vedanta? You're studying Vedanta today. Imagine you are having so much of love and affection given to you. People are showering their love and affection there. Will you continue to shower love on them? Will you do that? If you do it, then you are doing your obligations. There, action is effortless. You evolve. What is the mark of evolution? Desire reduction and all is very, very theoretical. Okay. You can't really understand that. Even though that's the truth, that's the fact. Right? But we can't really understand. Your actions are evolving. You are becoming more and more peaceful, more and more prosperous, more and more dynamic, more and more enjoying life. What is a mark of doing that, sir? Okay. I think I'm talking too confusing to you people. I'll ask a simple question. Okay. If you were to be enjoying the class, this talks, the study of Vedanta, if you were to be enjoying the study of Vedanta, what is a proof of that? The proof of you enjoying the class is, before I log in, all of you should be logged in and waiting for me. Then you are enjoying the class, correct? You should be waiting for Tuesday and Thursday evening. Sir, I'm just waiting for that. Suppose, today I was about to actually answer the class today because there was no internet connection. Only at 6:45 I got the net connection. I said, okay, we'll have it. I said, we'll wait and wait and wait. We'll make the announcement around, 6:58. I said, So 6:45 only I got my net connection, broadband. Now, if I were to be enjoying the talk, the proof of that is going to be what? I should be waiting for an opportunity to speak. Then I am enjoying the talk. Suppose imagine, 5:30 itself, if there is no internet connection, send out to people here, no class today. Chutti. And the moment you see that news message, no class today, you also feel what? Thank God, no class today. Then you are not enjoying the class, isn't it? The mark of you enjoying something means you would want that experience more and more. You perform evolutionary actions, actions which are effortless, action that is yielding your inner success and outer success and all that. How can you not enjoy that action? If you are enjoying that action, how can you not want to do more and more? You should be looking for an opportunity to do more. You should search. You should dig out to do more and more. What is our position now? Whether it is your household duties that you so-called household duties that you claim, so-called domestic or official, your social, your personal, any dimension you see, where is it that you are doing actions which is looked out by you? You are waiting for that opportunity. I will be the first one to jump in. In Laodicea, Protesilas does that. This fellow. This, the Greek prince, John, when they go to invade, there's a war. The oracle had pronounced the Greeks will win, but the first soldier who steps on the soil will die. And the ship has reached, and people are debating who is going to be jumping. That young prince, Protesilas, he jumps, sacrifices his life. Of course, they win the battle, but he dies. That's the poem, Laodicea. Beautiful one. Where the prince knows the one who is going to set his foot on the soil will die. He knows he's going to die, but he says, let me be the first person to do it. Are we going to do that, sir? We also jump, but we don't know. Are you going to die or not? You see, that is sacrifice. Now, sacrifice means, remember, Protesilas. That is sacrifice. Amazing character. That's why, gives that life to those people. But today, the self-imposed duties that you are claiming has become a Frankenstein. It's a burden for us today. That is a proof that that is not your obligations. Then what are you doing? Then how is your actions are all getting executed? That's where this chronology of action you got to remember. Remember this. This chronology of action is a theorem. Okay? You got to mug it up. There is no option. Every action that you are performing, this side of the action, there is a result. Effect. Every effect, every consequence, fruit, is preceded by effort. If there is no effort, no consequence, no effect. Definitely there is no effect. Now, every action of yours is preceded by a desire. And every desire is preceded by thought. Every thought is preceded by vasana. Vasana in Sanskrit. Vasana, thought, desire, action, effect, fruit. This is the sequence of every action that you are doing in life. There is no action that is performed by you beyond this. Vasana means the inherent tendency in you. Now, each personality has a particular tendency, innate nature. Now, that's why we see everyone is different. From where the differences comes up? From that vasana only. The vasana is the seed. That seed sprouts thought, becomes a plant, desire, becomes a tree, action, becomes fruit, produces fruit. That's the effect, consequence. So the seed sprouts as a thought, as in your intellect. That is why that thought comes to this person, why this thought comes to this person. Situation being same. Like one man is walking. As he is walking, he wants to take his handkerchief. As he is taking his handkerchief, he drops his wallet. And he is not registering it. He is just walking. There are two fellows standing there and seeing from the bus stop. One fellow thinks, oh my God, pick it up and give it to him. Another fellow thinks, pick it up and take it away. From where that thought comes? Why this fellow got this thought? Why that fellow got that thought? Vedanta says it comes from his vasana. He has that vasana. He has this vasana. He has a vasana to steal. Therefore, he gets that thought. This action. So this is how action is performed. And based on action, the result comes. Depending on the action, the result comes. This is the chronology of action. Now, why do you have to study this chronology of action, sir? Without this chronology, you cannot understand how do you practice renunciation in action. Now, most of us think when we say you got to renounce, what are they supposed to renounce? We think I have to renounce the physical action. Now, Vedanta says, no. I am not asking you to renounce the physical action. What you are supposed to renounce is the desire behind that action. Keep the desire aside and perform action. Now, for you to perform action, what is the reference point? Now, for all of us, the reference point is my desire. That's all. So take it as that. Vasana, desire, action. Thought you keep it aside right now, at least in the initial stages. Then you complicate it. Then you complicate it further. So as of now, you just understand the word vasana at this stage. What does it say? Your inherent tendencies. That is enough. Don't go beyond that. If you go beyond that, it will confuse you. Okay. So as of now, you take it only that much. It will be easier for you to understand the idea. Because the thought cannot come from nowhere. That is the logic. You see, that sprouting cannot come without a seed. But in the seed, you can't see the seed. Why? Because the seed is underground. It is below the surface. So you can't see. Similarly, Vasana cannot be seen. Vasana you cannot recognize. But you can recognize at the sprouting level. Even at the sprouting level, it is not easy for you to recognize, you know. Like if you give the rice and wheat, you can't recognize. After they pound it, after they extract, if you see only you can recognize. Otherwise, you see in the field, the crops grown. As you are going by the car, if you see that, you won't even understand whether it is this or that. It is not easy to recognize at that stage. After it grows, only you can recognize. Similarly, it is not possible for us to recognize the things at the thought level also. But at the desire level, it is much easier for us to recognize. Therefore, let us start working from desire level. So, every action is preceded by desire. Desire is preceded by vasana, which is unknown to you right now, which is what is referred as your tendencies. Okay. Then comes this renunciation. Now, obligation, you got to remember these words. You got to do your obligations. After doing your obligatory duties, only renunciation comes into picture. Before obligations, renunciation is not in your life. Renunciation in action is not possible. You can practice only renunciation of action. Dropping action only you can do. You can't practice this. So what he's saying is, you are all, every one of us have to act. There is no option, which means physical body has to keep performing action. There, no choice. There is no option. But what should be driving me to perform that action? There is an option. There comes the choice given to every human, which is not available for other creatures. Only human has a choice. What is a choice? The choice is not to do or not to do. No. You have no choice but to do action. You see? Now, where the choice comes in, sir? Now, human has an option that instead of the desires pushing me to action, I can fix up a higher ideal, higher goal, higher purpose, a mission, a vision in life. That higher ideal drive me, pull me into action. Either a desire pushes me into action, or the ideal pulls me into action. If desire pushes you to action, devolutionary. If an ideal inspires you to perform action, that is called obligatory action. So for you to practice action has to be with reference to higher ideal. So what Vedanta says is, first thing you need to do is what, sir? Pitch up a higher ideal. Higher means what? Beyond my current level of thinking, beyond my current level of desires. Right now, I have a desire. Conceive something beyond that. Right now, my desire is to take care of my family. That's all. I have to provide things to my family. Me, family means what? Me, my wife, my child. That's all. So I have to provide the things for them. I do all my actions only in line with that. So when I'm doing actions only for my family, conceive some actions that you can perform for your community, right? Whatever the community you are, wherever you are, can you do something beyond that? Conceive little, start working. Suppose if you are already at the level of community, start thinking in terms of a country. If you are already at that level, which we have seen already, you remember where? World and man. We studied mineral person, vegetable person, animal person, human person, and God person. We have studied there already. Now, wherever you are, start conceiving of a higher ideal, higher purpose for your existence. Be doing actions in a day, right? What is the unit action that you have performed today? Something beyond the benefit of your family. So people say, we are doing CSR activities, sir. Why? Because government has given that as a rule for you. That doesn't mean anything, please. I'm not saying immediately, every one of you start one NGO, start one trust and start, doing social work. I'm not talking about that, please. In the next chapter, we will see charity. After the class, 50% of the class will drop off, because it becomes too heavy for people. They get annoyed with me when I explain that. What is this? You conceive a higher ideal beyond your current level of desires. Intellect pictures of that ideal. When that intellect pictures of that ideal, you have to remember all these points. You have to remember. There are 6 points I'm going to give. Remember all the 6 points. Even if I forget, you remind me. Okay, 6 points are there. First point is, let your intellect conceive a higher ideal. Number 1. Number 2, when the intellect is inspired by the higher ideal, let not your emotions, desires come in and contradict with that. Drop that conflicting desires with reference to that higher ideal. If I have to make a choice in my life, either that ideal or pursuit of my desire, your mind should surrender to the higher ideal and not press on pursuing the desire. That surrender is the attitude of the mind. The mind subordinates its likes and dislikes for the pursuit of the higher ideal. So remember, intellect is conceiving the higher ideal, pictures of the higher ideal, gets convinced about the higher ideal, it registers this is what I'm supposed to do. After fixation of that intellect, mind should surrender to that ideal. Surrendering means what? It doesn't allow its surface emotions to come and disturb the pursuit of that higher ideal. And under any pretense, like people come and ask, oh, next class I am not able to come. Why? Because my neighbor's 32nd cousin's brother-in-law's wedding is happening. I have to attend for that. Okay, why have you have to attend there? Are you the one who made the alliance? No. They gave the invitation. Now, anybody gives invitation. I'm so glad in Corona. you know, during this period. A lot of people are so happy. One of the reason I'm so happy is so many parents are, relieved of spending their life earning for the wedding. There's so much of money you spend. Pressure, this. Why? And that fellow spent. Why? Because you have to go. By mistake, he saw you, the neighbor. When he had come to invite your neighbor, by mistake, he saw you. Now what to do? The wife, looked at him. He said, give him also. Because otherwise, he will start spreading news. So he goes and gives the invitation. You get the invitation. Say, yeah, leave. Just because somebody gives invitation doesn't mean you have to attend. See? Now you have that desire to attend that wedding, and there is a class. Now you have to decide which is higher. There are people who say my higher ideal is attending wedding. Then correct. I can't do anything. See. So we say now when you fix a higher ideal, always various emotions and various desires, various likes and dislikes can come and conflict with it. Conflict with that effort, conflict with that pursuit. Our mind should surrender to that. Okay. Third one is physical level, perform action dynamically. Don't be lazy. Don't keep postponing. Let me do it tomorrow. Now I am tired. Take bath. Like people ask in the academy when you're studying, they say, 4 o'clock wake up. 4 or 5 prayer we used to have. Prayer we have to walk from the boys' hostel to the bell tower. And you have to get up, brush, go. We don't take bath, but you have to get up, brush, walk, be there. Fold your bed, fold the blanket, fold the blanket, brush, go. How long you have, sir? 5 minutes you have. You should be there. Now you can't wake up at 3:45 itself for that. Then he says, no, you're not following the schedule then. He says 4 o'clock means you should wake up at 4 o'clock only. And fold your blanket. Without folding blanket, if you come, he says, no, that's not correct. Then what you have to do? He says, folding blanket, how long will it take? 30 seconds maximum. Then walk. Brushing. How long you are going to brush? If you brush only once a day, it will take 5 minutes. There we brush thrice a day. In fact, 4 times a day we brush there. We keep brushing after breakfast, after lunch, after dinner, and in the morning once. So 4 times when you are brushing, it doesn't take much time. They say 1 minute will take. Yes. Then 1.5 minutes over. Then what is there? 3.5 minutes there. How long does it take for you to walk from here to there? Steps count. Count. If you follow that, you are there by 4 o'clock, 4 minutes, 30 seconds. And you have the time, another 30 seconds for preparing yourself, relaxing there, inquiring about others. Oh, good morning, good morning, good morning, and all that. After that, you start the prayer. 4 o'clock, wake up, 4, 5, there. How do you do that, sir? That speed with which you are able to perform action, that's called dynamism. Demands what? Concentration. You see, if you are not concentrating, you can't be speed. You can't have the dynamism. It's not possible. That concentrated physical action. Perform. So performance of action at the physical level, do action at the physical level, mind surrenders, meaning subordinates its likes and dislikes, the surface likes and dislikes, that immediate for the achievement of the ideal. Like the student who wants to watch this IPL, and day after he has to appear for CAT exams or CLAT. He has to appear day after because their exam is there. Now, if he is sitting and watching match, that between the two, which is higher, which is lower? Now, intellect pitches up the higher, and the mind should say, I keep aside my lower. I am agreeing with you. Mind does that. This is one aspect of action. Another aspect of action is when you are performing actions, your energies gets dissipated and wasted in three channels. There are three areas in which your energy, your thought energy, your mental energy, your physical energy, whatever you call it, your conscious energy, subconscious energy, unconscious energy, any energy, you don't have enough energy in you because it gets wasted, it gets drained. Where it gets drained, sir? There are three areas in which your mental energy gets wasted. One is you get anxious about the future result. Whenever you get anxious about the result, you lose your energy. Your thoughts gets dissipated. The dissipation, you lose focus, you lose energy to perform action. Same way, when you are worried of the past, also your energy gets wasted. What happened in the past? What happened? Last time and this time, last time and this time, last time and this time. Like most of us have this problem. Last quarter and this quarter. Isn't it? Last year. 2019, first quarter, what is it? 2020, first quarter, what is it? Now, situation is so different. Now, what are you going to compare? The fact that you compare like that, you lose your energy. And not only those two, very interestingly, even if your mind comes to the present, you lose energy. A lot of people think, okay, if my mind goes to the past and future, only problems are. If my mind is in the present, there is no problem. No, if your mind comes in the present also, there is one problem there. What is it, sir? Excitement. You get excited about the present. So there are three areas in which your energy is getting wasted, drained. He says plug in that. Plug those three areas. One, past, worries, memories of the past. What happened? Out. Same way, future also. Like typically we see that in this batsmen, they come to 90s, something happens. Theoretically speaking, there is no reason for a batsman to get out in 90s. Because they say by the time you come to 90s, you start seeing the cricket ball like football. How can you miss a football? But still, what happens, sir? Everyone gets into the nervous 90. What is this nervous 90s? Anxiety over 100. Will I get 100? Will I get 100? Will I get 100? Same way, that particular bowler, that particular batsman has a weakness. Why? Srikanth had this. Till Srikanth was batting, Imran Khan will not come for bowling actually. Imran Khan comes means blasting left, right, center he'll do. But the moment he sees Wasim Akram taking a run up is enough, he'll get out. He is not yet bowled. What is the problem? that particular bowler, the batsmen have that weakness for that particular. Why? That particular ground they play, that particular tournament. Other tournaments, no problem. That particular tournament, there is a problem. Why? Past failures, past failures. That memory comes in and disturbs you now. Same way, you get excited. That's what they say. What happened to Ronaldo? That Brazilian in the finals. He couldn't pass the ball properly. He was not there to receive the ball also. You see the match. It's fascinating. He's playing like Ishwaran. Why? No one understood what had happened to that man. There's a lot of conspiracy theories and all came in, based on that. That's why Brazil lost. They say, why? What had happened to him, sir? Vedanta says, nothing happened to that fellow. The fact that they are playing, like the tennis players always have that, that the fact that they are playing in the center court, Wimbledon, that center court means something happens to those people. Similarly, cricketers have this problem. Lords, you play anywhere, it's different. Lords, you go, it is different, no doubt about it. The fact that they are entering there, that excitement, they lose concentration. For you to perform actions as obligations, first requirement is to do the 6 points. When you perform actions using the 6 points, and when it comes to ideal, if you keep the ideal of self-realization, you can have other ideals. But in strictly speaking, Vedanta's recommendation is to fix the goal of self-realization. Why and what and all we will see as we go along. Why we say, no other goal is taken as this. Why? Because actions can be performed at 3 levels: selfish, unselfish, selfless. Selfish action means actions performed for the benefit of my equipments, my body, my mind, my intellect. What is in that action? What is the benefit of that action? The only benefactor from that action is me, selfish. When I perform that same action for the benefit of another's body, mind, intellect, okay, for the welfare of others' body, mind, intellect, unselfish. Okay. Selfless is no equipments at all. Actions performed for the sake of the spirit. This is why you need to know the basic constitution of a human being, which you have seen already. Every human is made up of 2 things: spirit, matter. Matter is body, mind, intellect. Now, the difference in all of us is only with reference to the matter equipments. The spirit component remains the same. Now, when I am performing actions for the sake of the self, for the sake of that spirit component, for getting back to this self, that set of actions were called selfless action. I repeat, selfish action means my body, my mind, my intellect. Unselfish means your body, your mind, your intellect. That your could be anything, doesn't matter. That your could be 2 people, that your could be 20 people, that your could be 20,000 or 2 crores or 20,000 crores, doesn't make a difference. But it is only with reference to body, mind, intellect. Third type of action, he says, is actions performed for the sake of the spirit, which has got nothing to do with your equipments or my equipments. Actions dedicated for the sake of the self is the mission of life. Those who fix that as a mission and start performing actions for that sake, leaving aside other things, is action and renunciation going together. We'll see you in the next class. Thank you.